So now I'm going to kind of move to what I hope will begin our main takeaway for today, which is one of the things that you can do to support students of all different linguistic backgrounds is to kind of do what we've been doing already today, this morning, or it's not the morning, but it feels like the morning to me because I had coffee not long ago, and which is using asset discourse when we talk about students and when we talk to students about their languages. That's kind of the main thing I'm going to sit with today with you. And learn from you as well, and then we'll move to some strategies, other strategies and things later. But I want to talk about deficit discourse as something to avoid, and then asset discourse as something that we want to do. Like that. Oh, okay, yeah. So deficit discourse is a way of speaking about multilingualism as chiefly a weakness of students that sets them back and apart from their peers. Only recognizing a student's multilingual background when something has gone wrong, or they haven't achieved as highly as you or they would like, expressing low expectations for multilingual students. On the other hand, asset discourse is speaking about multilingualism as a resource, skill set, or asset that the students can leverage in their academic and social lives. That's supposed to say an OU and beyond. I'm sorry. I mean, that still counts though, right? We're beyond Wayne State right now. I did this for Wayne State faculty yesterday, and I moved all my slides out of the Wayne template, and then praising multilingual students when they do well, articulating high expectations for multilingual students. And so I want to pause with the praising multilingual students when they do well. What I don't mean by that is, wow, your English is so good. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm getting some chuckles, which is how I know people know that this is not going to hit right, with a lot of students. And that's because if we think about these very common examples, that would not be an appropriate thing to say to any of these students, right? And I'm thinking that Yunfeng might be the one most likely to get that, but she's been using English, in class academically since she was 6. So her skills, if they're very, very high, which they probably are, if she's studying, in the US in English, she doesn't need that kind of compliment, but I just mean more like making sure to see them and notice them when they're successful in the same way that we would do any other student. Another example would be to think about the way that study abroad students get talked about versus the way international students that come here get talked about. So if I went, and I wish I had done this, but I did not, study abroad in Paris for a semester, and I studied my French, and then I went there and I took some classes in French, I would probably get a lot of praise from my family and friends about, wow, what an amazing thing that you did. You learned French so well that you were actually able to take classes in it. Or even if I didn't do that, because a lot of the students study abroad, they don't take classes in another language, but they still have to navigate the world in a different language. We always talk so positively about those students and how it helps their career and their intercultural competency. But when we're here and we have those students coming here from other places, for example, studying on a visa here, we often really focus on their challenges and what isn't going well, and are they really going to be suited for that opportunity because maybe their English isn't going to be good enough, and whatever. So let's just try to remember that those students are also doing something really, really amazing. And again, I know what not to do because I've done everything in all kinds of ways. So just I've got a couple slides I'm going to flip through maybe a little bit more quickly, and then I have an activity to help kind of close us out. But asset discourse is not pretending that there are no challenges that face multilingual students, avoiding talking about multilingualism, using euphemisms to hide weaknesses that students have. The student needs to be, strengthening certain skills in the class. It's not that you can't help them with that and point that out. It's about, what do you actually need them to learn and do in your class, and approaching that from an asset, point of view. Exaggerating what multilingual students are doing well. Those are the kinds of things that we want to, every student deserves the high expectations that we have for them. Asset discourse is reminding them that all their languages and literacies, I'm using that word really broadly defined, are useful and important. Achieving a better balance in our discourse around weaknesses versus challenges students experience. Articulating high standards for students because we know they have what it takes to do well. And being on the lookout for opportunities that we can offer to students. So if they're multilingual, there may be essay contests or internships or different opportunities, just like we would any student.